And so is Bitcoin, apparently, because the last time you guys saw my face on a video camera, the price of Bitcoin was only $44,000. But then I leave and go on vacation, and we boost up above 50,000. We're going to be talking about in this video what delayed sound effects mean. And there was your lesson right there. We're also going to talk about how Bitcoin is not done yet going to the upside. But the question is it only a little bit more before we have a correction, or could we be sending straight to new all-time highs before the halving even happens? There are some charts we got to take a look at that could potentially signal that. There's also some things to be aware of that potentially a pullback could be coming. So you got to stick around for the entire show to hear about that. Also taking a look at some of these altcoins that are doing some crazy things. We're going to be covering that in the Q&A section. Anything you guys want to see some TA on, we're going to make sure to leave at least 20 minutes on the end of the show for some T&A, Q&A, whatever the A's you guys want. We're going to cover all of it. But before we go too much further in the show, it's been a week since I did this thing. I had a friend hold it down, and that was the co-host of this show, the amazing, the illustrious, the fantastic Mr. T. Shroom from down there in Gainesville, Florida. T. Shroom, how are you feeling today?
More illustrious than I deserved him, I must say.
Usually, yeah.
It's awesome. That's good. I love that adjective, and I think it suits me very well. Let me know in the chat. You guys think I'm illustrious? I don't know. But I do have a great quote for us today. Courage is found in unlikely places. This is from J.R.R. Tolkien's Return of the King.
Lord of the Rings, for those who maybe don't know what that book is in the series of.
That's right.
It's a good quote. Courage is found in unlikely places. Maybe. I don't know, actually. I'm thinking about it. Let's break this down, T-Shirt. What does that even mean? What is the unlikely places? Does that mean the people that look like they're the most afraid are the ones that are most courageous?
I think the way that I relate to this is sometimes I'll get into a routine, and I have a lot of like limiting beliefs come in when you have a routine, I think, versus when you're in kind of change mode, in transition mode. Those Bollinger Bands are much wider, right? And so you have the courage to go do something great, or you may also get ultra depressed and not do anything, right, during those wide Bollinger Band moments. So courage, though, is found in places outside of your ritual, outside of the comfortable, outside of the routine. That's what
something I thought about courage is you can't have courage without fear. It's not courageous. What you do is not courageous if what you do isn't in spite of your fear. So courage isn't the absence of fear. It's the overcoming of fear. So maybe that's what J.R. Tolkien is meaning here. Unlikely places. You would think you're just supposed to be this brave person who's never afraid. No, to be courageous, you actually have to be afraid. Otherwise,
that's right.
You're just dumb and you're just doing things because you don't care. So maybe that's what it was. I don't know. Well,
I think so.
Speaking of the unlikeliest of places, Bitcoin is going to the upside, despite the fact that there's not really major catalyst to do so. One thing I want to keep an eye on here, we're going to talk about the bullish side of this. I'm going to show you guys two charts that could potentially see a Bitcoin mimic, in which case we would be seeing a new all-time high coming very, very soon, well over $70,000 for sure. But I also want to take a look at some things that are not necessarily brimming with a lot of optimism. And the first thing we're looking at here on the charts, I did not do charts a single day while I was gone on snowboarding. I looked at price action. I was just very excited watching all the coins in my portfolio go to the upside. But now that I'm coming back and I'm on a computer and I'm watching these charts, there are some things I want to make sure you guys are aware of. The first thing I'm looking at here, we are not necessarily seeing an overwhelming amount of volume. Now, if you guys have been watching the channel for a while, or if you're used to technical analysis and you know how to read volume indicators, volume peaks at two different locations. It either A, peaks in confirming a trend, meaning explosiveness in one direction or the other, or it comes in at tops or bottoms, meaning it's a reversal signal. Well, yes, there's a little bit of volume on the way up here, but take a look at some of the most recent volume spikes and what they kind of mimicked. First of all, we had this big spike back here in January. That, of course, was the top signal. We reversed right there. So this spike in volume mimicked a reversal. We also had a spike in volume back here in October, but this was actually the confirmation of the uptrend, meaning we spiked in volume moving to the upside. This just confirmed how many bulls were involved here. And when I'm looking at this, if I were to come down to like the hourly chart, I bet you I'm going to find some spikes in volume. That's nice to see right here. Spikes in volume on our way up, spikes in volume on the way up. But when I'm looking at the daily chart, we're not seeing an overwhelming amount of volume, meaning we could see this be a situation where we actually see increased volume be a reversal. So keep an eye on that. If you start to see volume increase, we've already kind of had this nice takeoff. We've already passed not only the 2024 highs, but also the 2023 highs. If we see volume increasing, especially if the candles aren't necessarily growing, we could be seeing a reversal come in. Now, where would that reversal be if it comes anytime soon? You guys know we talked about this before. We actually talked about this way back in like October, November, December area when we confirmed we'd broken above 30,000. We were heading to the upside. I'm not going to say October. We'll say we talked about these levels in November and December. Let's take a look at the fixed range volume profile before we go deeper into some technical analysis with Lux Algo.
Really quick, before you get into the VPVR, I wanted to show you something on that note of volume. So there's actually a tweet over from Caleb Franson. He said probably nothing, but he's commenting on this tweet where there has been a gigantic uptick in volume from the IBIT Bitcoin Trust. So this is the BlackRock Trust. You can see that gigantic gap on the screen there. But just throwing it back to you, we have seen some elevated volume, just not on spot Bitcoin, over on the ETF side.
And let me tell you why that doesn't mean anything, T-Shroom, because that chart does not move the price of Bitcoin whatsoever, unless it's an overwhelming amount that makes the company buy more Bitcoin, which we'll need to wait and see. If that happens, great. But we're not seeing that on the actual spot Bitcoin price. So while I think that's interesting, in case anyone's confused, if you see volume increase on ETFs, that means absolutely diddly squat for the price of Bitcoin, unless that company did not have any Bitcoin on tap and they have to go out and buy some more, in which, we'll see how that works. BlackRock, Fidelity, others, they've been buying Bitcoin in bulk for a while now. They might have a lot more in reserves than they actually have dealt out with these ETFs. So we'll have to kind of see how that one plays out. Either way, good catch there, T-Shroom. Something that I think people should be aware of. Let's take a look at that fixed range volume profile, though, and keep a look at a level that we discussed here months ago. This volume gap here at $53,000. It says like 52.7. It's kind of a rough little area. Ultimately, somewhere between 52.5 and 53,000 is going to be the zone that we're keeping an eye on right here. Let's go ahead and I used the wrong box here. Excuse me. Let's go with this T-box right here. And bada boom. Let's go ahead and just kind of give us a small little range right here in that volume gap. Again, I've said this before, but I'll say it again. Everyone pays attention to the high volume, and you always want to pay attention to the value area high, the point of control, the value area low. You want to look at the levels where there's increased volume, because that's the levels where a lot of whatever asset you're looking at, in this case it's Bitcoin, has been traded back and forth. But a lot of times we find reversals happen, big reversals happen in the gaps of the fixed range volume profile, not actually at peaks, which everyone likes to keep their eye on. So for me, I'm just telling you guys right now, what I want to see is Bitcoin clear 53,000, this level right here, with some confidence. In fact, I would love to see increased volume as it has big candles break above this level. Otherwise, there is a chance that that could be the top. And let's just talk about this before we move on to the bullish stuff. I want to get the bearish out of the way, and then we'll talk about the bullish. If we go to 53,000, what is something else, T-Shroom, that we have talked about pretty heavily on this channel is that in these pre-halving cycles, if you go back to the history of Bitcoin, what percentage have we said over and over again is a normal pullback for pre-halving cycles in Bitcoin?
30%.
Okay. I'll set you up. Next time, you're going to need you to clear the 40%, T-Shroom. 40%. It's always at least 40%. 30 is good.
30, 40. I was going to say 40 was going to be my second guess.
It's 3/4 of the way there. You're getting close, but 40%. Let's go back to the chart. What would a 40% pullback look like? Let's just say if we reach $53,000, and I'm going to go kind of rough area. 40% would be, would you look at that? $32,000. What is the level we talked about? The untapped resistance, $32,000. What is something that does not happen very often? You don't often see markets have serious resistance levels, break through them like there's nothing, and then not retest it as support. So this is why 53 is still really important, because 53 is not only the gap here in the fixed range volume profile, it's also the level that if we were to tap it and have a normal 40% pullback, it would send us back down to this former resistance level that has been untapped, this $32,000 level. Now, I want to make sure I clarify here, guys. This does not have to happen. Let's go back to technical analysis. Nothing about technical analysis demands a price action move one way or the other. Technical analysis is simply about studying either historical moves or the psychology of how traders invest, both buying and selling. And traditionally, meaning more often than not 100% of the time, but more often than not, you do not see serious resistance levels go untapped before a breakout happens. Has it happened before? Yes, it has. Is there a way it could happen? Absolutely, there is a way it could happen. However, I just want to make sure you guys are prepared, because here's the other thing to think about. Why are we so bullish right now? What is the main bullish catalyst for Bitcoin going up? It's the institutions buying up more Bitcoin. It is, well, we see, it looks like Grayscale on the GBTC is done selling off for now, at least. It doesn't look like there's a lot of negative pressure. That's the reason why prices exploded to the upside, despite the fact that the volume is really low. That means there's just nothing but bullishness right here from institutions. Well, guess who has the greatest ability to influence the news, the greatest ability to sell off and take profit, the greatest ability to manipulate the entire market? It's the institutions. So, am I saying with 100% certainty that we are going to fall 40% back to 32,000? No, I am not. But am I saying that those cards are still well within the table, well on the table, and could very well happen? Yes, that is what I am saying. So continue to keep your eyes on those levels. Look for the signs. But now, again, I had to get the bearish stuff out of the way. Let's talk about the bullish stuff. Let's go back over to my screen here, T-Shroom. And let's take down the fixed range volume profile. And I'm going to use more Lux Algo for the altcoins later on. Just so you guys know, Lux Algo is triggering a lot of sell signals right now. It's just overextended. Why? Because we haven't been this high since all the way back in December of 2021. Let that sit in for just a second. I guess technically we were that high. Okay, we have not been this high since December 21. Like literally a month removed from the all-time high. That's where we're sitting right now. But there's a pocket right here. Let's get rid of this zone. There is a nice little pocket. After our fall here in 2021, we had this zone here of a nice level of resistance. And you guys can see, obviously, we came down. We touched that level here just a couple of weeks ago. We fell back down 20-something%. I don't remember the exact number. And then we rallied to the upside, and we have a move to the upside. Now, I'm not telling you guys with 100% certainty that this is going to happen either. To get a super chat, because I see someone say, yeah, here we go. Let's read a super chat. Army Piper. We don't miss super chats here. He said, I was very excited to see the pump too. Welcome back. Don't crash my bags, bro. I'm going to try not to. I'm going to try my absolute hardest not to. And that's why I'm about to tell you guys a bullish scenario that could send us new all-time highs very, very soon. But thank you so much for that super chat, Piper. Let's go back over here to my chart, T-Shroom. So we have this former zone of resistance that we did reject at once again, and now we're moving back above. This is a move that looks pretty similar to two different stocks that have been explosive here recently. Let's start off with stock number one, NVIDIA. Now, NVIDIA, they did this a while ago, and it's a very weird chart. Let's go to the weekly chart so we don't have to deal with all the gaps necessarily. I don't know why the weekly chart removes all the gaps. It just does. Let's get rid of some of this other stuff here as well, just to take away some noise here on the screen. If you guys go back and look at NVIDIA, of course, we had a high back here in November of 2021. We pulled down, we moved back up, setting a new level of resistance, a lower high. Look at what happens here. We didn't have a massive pullback, but we come back up into that same range, have a small rejection, have a small pullback over the 2-week period, and then we rally up into the right up and hit new highs. Currently, even this week, we're still going up to new highs here for NVIDIA. Great job there, NVIDIA. But this wasn't the only chart that had a look like this. Let's take a look at Meta here as well. Meta, of course, being the former Facebook name. I don't know why we changed to Meta, but that's a whole different conversation. We have a similar kind of dynamic going on here as well. Again, not quite November. This is September of 2021. We have a small pullback. We create ourselves a nice little zone of a lower high, setting resistance. If I can grab our little box right here, guess what happens? We come up into that box just like we did with NVIDIA, just like we did with Bitcoin. We have ourselves a nice small pullback, and then boom, over the next couple of weeks, we blast off to new highs where it is currently sitting here up above $470. So what am I saying here? Could we see these are two explosive tech stocks that people got really excited about? Could we see a similar move happen here with Bitcoin? Let's go to my clear chart where, again, same thing. High of November. We came back, set a lower high here in March of 2022. But during the bear market, we now have had our rejection. We've pulled back from it, and now we're blasting on through. This alone would definitely send the price above $70,000. But there's actually a level, if it were to mimic what Meta does, it would actually be sitting somewhere closer to $85,000 if we see a repeat. and I'm not going to say this is perfectly because I'm not the biggest fan, T-Shroom, of mix and matching and saying just because one other coin or one other stock or one other asset did it that you're going to see a mimic. But it is peculiar that those are tech stocks that people are very excited about the future of their tech. Well, what are people excited about the tech of in the future? Bitcoin, not necessarily from the tech side, meaning Bitcoin's going to build new technology, but from the monetary side, it is something to be a little perplexed about that Bitcoin could be a repeat of NVIDIA and Meta and have itself a nice little push to the upside. But for that to happen, again, let's see some increased volume getting us above 53,000. If we get above 53,000, I would feel very confident, not 100%, but very confident that potentially we will never see a 3 in the front of Bitcoin's price action unless it's a 300,000 or a 3 million. I don't think we're good. I don't know. Do you think we're going to get to 30 million someday, T-Shroom?
30 million, absolutely. I think we absolutely have to get to 30 million.
I don't think that we will be alive to see a $30 million Bitcoin.
What does a $10 trillion market cap for Bitcoin equate to for price?
10 trillion? It's not going to it's going to be somewhere just south of a million, but I don't know the exact number. Someone pull out a calculator in chat and tell us what would it, and just go ahead and even do 21 million coins. What is $10 trillion divided by 21 million? That's going to be the price of the Bitcoin. So interesting thought there. But you have a point. What's your thought there, T-Shroom? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, one thing in addition to that is that if you look at the Qs, the triple Qs, you're talking about the stock market comparison. I love it. This is where I love to thrive. Is what have we done? Right? We've gone in and printed new all-time highs. Now, there's no halving in the stock market, right? So that doesn't necessarily shed light on the question of will we get to 70K before the halving, right? But it does show that a similar asset class, definitely not a one-to-one comparison, has gone up and touched all-time highs, kind of had some trouble around it, right? Testing, before it got to key levels, right? We are right now, 50,000. Before it went ahead, made a correction, right? As Tim was saying. Now, this happened over, multiple weeks, if not more than a couple
multiple
months.
Yeah.
But saw an 11% correction, right? So Tim was looking at NVIDIA. He was looking at Meta. And the triple Qs is a ETF, right? It's an index of all tech companies, or a lot of the the leading tech companies. Similarly to how Bitcoin is in the Bitcoin ETF, tech companies are in the triple Qs. So it's absolutely possible, Tim. These proportions, are pretty good at helping us come to the conclusion that there still could be a significant pullback, a very significant pullback. So that is something that I'm kind of looking for. And then the other thing to note is that we haven't gotten a candle body close for the daily chart above 50,000 yet. A lot of people are kind of counting their chickens before they roost. Now, chances are we probably will, right? But if you go over here, I've got my chart pulled up, you can see, right? We've got it. This is the weekly chart. Go to the daily chart, you can see that we have had, 2 candles that had the potential to close above 50,000, didn't. Now, we've pushed above it, but we've pushed above it before. We pushed above it yesterday and the day before, and neither of those days did we close. Today, obviously, it's looking like it's going to close.
So right? I feel good about today closing above, yeah.
There's still time before, that could potentially not happen. And I put out a tweet to this effect, actually, which is this one right here. When do we see that candle body close above 50,000 for Bitcoin? There was a stark tie here on Valentine's Day and then not in February. So it was either going to be today, Valentine's Day, or not in February at all. So far, those who kind of took the risk, rolled the dice, and said Valentine's Day are being rewarded.
We got a little less than 4 hours to impact that. So we'll see. It's looking good as it is right now. Now, we're going to dive into some news here in a second, but before we move away from my pre-planned TA, and again, we're going to come back and do Q&A, where we'll dive into altcoins. I want to set up the altcoin conversation with a little bit of a query. And one more thing I want you guys to understand, I don't want to be the rain on the parade. I want to be realistic so that you get both perspectives. So you don't do something stupid like think, oh, I have to go buy Bitcoin right now or I'll never be able to buy it below 60,000 ever again. Like that's not something you should be thinking about right now. Let's go to my screen here one last time and then T-Shroom, we're going to jump into the news. Now, Bitcoin has been rising. Altcoins have been rising. I mean, Cardano, after being a stable coin out there at 50 cents, is up over 57 cents. The only thing not moving much is XRP. It's moving a little, but not much. AVAX is going crazy. Link hit our. In fact, you guys, almost every altcoin has hit targets we have talked about in this show for the last couple of weeks, which is great. But I want to show you guys something else that's going up, and that is the Bitcoin dominance. The Bitcoin dominance is continuing to climb to the upside while we're seeing prices go up. Why is this not a good thing? Because during bull markets, we do not see Bitcoin dominance increase. We see it decrease. But during pre-halving runs that end up having significant pullbacks of at least 40%, that's when we see the Bitcoin dominance climb at the same time Bitcoin does. So what I want to see, not only on the price of Bitcoin, do I want to see Bitcoin's price break 53,000 with some confidence in the volume and to keep moving. I want to see the altcoins move up, and I want to see Bitcoin dominance start to fall. I want to see Bitcoin dominance keel over and come back down to the downside. As long as that continues to happen, we could see an alt season happen after this, which would be probably, in my opinion, if I see below 50% on the Bitcoin dominance, I would probably say, guys, it's safe to say this is a bull market and we're really good to go. But the problem is, let's look at altcoins real quickly, because Bitcoin, new high since 2021. Now, Ethereum, lackluster for a while there. It's at its new high since all the way back in 2022. But then you start to get to hear Cardano. It's not even close to the high we set here a couple months ago. Solana, it's maybe close, but it's not setting new highs with this most recent pump. Chainlink, after being dull, it's setting new highs, but then we keep going. AVAX, it's lower. Of course, XRP is lower. Matic, it's lower. I'm going to save you guys some time. As a whole, the massive altcoin span, despite this most recent pump over the last week since I was gone on vacation, they're not setting new highs for the year or the last couple of years. They're still lower. Why am I saying that? Because this happens in pre-bull market rallies that have steep corrections. When you have Bitcoin climb, but the altcoins lag behind and the dominance continues to climb. That's what we're seeing happen right now. Let's see that flip. Let's see the Bitcoin dominance start to plummet, despite the fact that prices of even Bitcoin are still going up. And that, to me, in this period of time, would probably be confirmation the bull market is on, and it is time to get rid of all of your dry powder and wait till a higher level to be selling and taking profit.
Absolutely. I love it. I love it, Tim. I think we're ready to go ahead and transition right on into the news.
Let's do it.
We've got some spicy headlines here, guys, so buckle up. And let's get into it. Gary Gensler says SEC's approval of spot Bitcoin ETF in January was cabined. What the heck does cabined mean? Let's find out. Let's take a look. Let's take a listen.
Sort of order event question is what happens to Ethereum. For those in the crypto world, they all want to know how you're thinking about that. And really, if Ethereum is a security, how does that analysis differ from how you would think about Bitcoin?
What we did in January was cabin to one set of filings. We have other filings. You're absolutely right in front of us, but I'm not going to prejudge it for you or the audience. That's something that a 5-member commission discusses and reviews.
So it's the diplomatic answer there from Gary. Honestly, I'm not shocked by that response, but his use of the word cabined. I don't know that I'm not familiar with that use in the world of finance. I don't know that it even is a word. It's very strange. And, Gary Gensler, he's definitely the king of a lot of things. I think strange might be another crown that he has earned here. Tim, what do you think about this word cabined? What about his use of this strange word?
Well, T-Shirt, it means to confine within narrow bounds. Is what it means. And it happens to be on my screen. I knew that from before. It's an interesting choice of words. Ultimately, I think you hit the nail around the head. This is Gary Gensler speak for, I need some form of excuse to not push approval button right now, even though I know my back's up against the wall and I have no excuse not to approve it unless I want to accuse Ethereum, and I'm going to use the word accuse because he doesn't have the authority to actually decide. He can just give his opinion. If he accuses Ethereum of being a security, and then we have that whole shabacle where he has to go to court with Vitalik, then that could be a legitimate reason to delay an Ethereum ETF. But unless he does that, he has no reason to keep delaying. So he's just using his legal precedence on his timeline, which confirms we're not going to see an Ethereum ETF before May. May is the deadline for his answer, right?
May 23.
So May 23rd of 2024. That's Brody's birthday. Cool knows. We're not going to see what happened before that. But I do think unless he comes out and accuses Ethereum of being a security, we're going to see an approval on May 23rd because he has no other options. Just like Bitcoin on January 10th, he had no other options. That's my kind of thinking at this point, T-shirt.
Absolutely. Brody there, born under the Ethereum star. I love it.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, no matter how much Gary Gensler tries to throw a wet blanket over crypto, we're not giving up. And here at the Investing Bros, we're trying to fight back. We've started an Instagram account, so you'll be very interested to find our official Investing Bros official Instagram. Go over and check it out. It's an advocacy Instagram for Bitcoin being better money, and bros follow for that vibe. We will not DM first, and it's got an exclusive picture of which you have to go check out to really get a good look at it. You'll never guess what it is. So go follow us over there on Instagram. It is absolutely linked in the description of this video here. And don't worry, if you don't follow us on Instagram now, you'll have plenty of more opportunities for old T-Shroom to remind you that you can do that. If you don't have an Instagram, then you should get one. Instagram's pretty cool. And there's a lot of pro Bitcoin, pro crypto stuff on there and some good trading tips as well.
Some cool stuff.
Got a graphic here about the overall Bitcoin inflows from ETFs. ETFs had the biggest day of inflows since launch with 631 million in new money flows yesterday. So Tim was talking to you guys on the charts about how the institutional buying is a very, very big reason of why price going up, right? So if you look here at the dates, you can see now these do not correlate with the beginning of the year. This correlates with the 1, 2, 3. That's how many days that the ETFs have been live, have been approved and trading, right? So we find ourselves here on day 23, and you can see it is the biggest inflow. And it is just crazy. It's getting bigger and bigger. So since day one, so there were bigger inflows on day one.
Is this chart talking about the companies, the institutions buying actual Bitcoin, or consumers buying ETFs?
Just Bitcoin ETF total flows. So my guess is that's going to probably be both by this amount of time.
I'm going to assume that this is tracking the money flowing into ETFs, which again. Mm-hmm. As cool as this is, and a massive amount of it makes these companies buy Bitcoin, this volume has no effect on the price of Bitcoin. Or it has no, I don't want to say it has no effect, because it does. Again, because if they buy enough, then like the likes of BlackRock, they have to go buy more. But it does not have a direct effect on the price of Bitcoin. Because again, if BlackRock has been storing up and is preparing to sell off, they don't need to buy any extra. They're just letting this volume flow in, and then they sell the price. They take the profit. They bring the price back down. They get people to buy in cheaper. Just got to remember that. And I think that's going to be a big thing of this next cycle, T-Shroom, that we're going to probably have to remind people a lot. I think there's going to be a lot of people who maybe were in crypto a couple years ago. They're coming back, and it's not fresh in the data. They're going to think every time people are buying these ETFs, this is so good. This is so good. This is so good. And it's like, no. Like, buying ETFs do not affect the price of Bitcoin. Especially the more coinage that BlackRock keeps getting on their fingers on, they can just have this big bank that they can just allow lots of money to flow in and out, and the price of Bitcoin never changes.
You're right. I think that yeah. So that's something to definitely remember. The
other thing to think about before we move on, T-Shirt, the other thing is, remember the first bit that BlackRock bought? They bought over the counter from Coinbase, which again, over-the-counter purchases do not affect the price of Bitcoin. The only way to affect it is if they deplete, so they were taking it from Coinbase, or they're buying it from Coinbase. Eventually, Coinbase is going to have to refill their bags because they have normal retail investors themselves. That would affect the Bitcoin price. But again, ETFs do not move the price of Bitcoin, and over-the-counter purchases do not move the price of Bitcoin. We have had a lot of both of those recently. So anyone wondering why if those affected the price of Bitcoin, guys, the price of Bitcoin would be at 100,000 like right now. That's like the amount of volume coming in. It would just go nuts. There's been a lot of showmanship, I guess, is like the Harlem Globetrotters. They move the basketball around. It's just a bunch of showmanship, but it's not really doing anything until the ball goes in the basket. People need to remember that these moves do not necessarily affect the price of Bitcoin.
So then the question really becomes, how much Bitcoin does BlackRock and Fidelity have on the sidelines, just in some other seeded account, right? How much, and it's hard to know, right? Because there's multiple parties seeding each fund. So JP Morgan, Other financial institutions there on Wall Street are co-seeding these funds, so it's not really clear. But eventually, they'll have to buy more Bitcoin to be so that ETF is adequately backed. And these are some of the ways that you're starting to see how the manipulators are kind of planning, how they're kind of positioning, so that they can be pulling some strings. Well, speaking of the manipulators, we've got another soundbite from your boy Gary G. He's coming at us hot. He's coming at us heavy. Let's see what he has to say.
Which is part of the attraction, since it's decentralized, and you can't have a profligate central bank.
It's not that decentralized, Joe.
Well, I know you're saying not. Because of the ETFs, but really it is.
No, it's
for
not
DeFi
that decentralized
and everything.
because look how finance tends towards centralization since antiquity.
Right.
So what do we have? We have a handful of 3 to 6 core so-called crypto
I understand, but the asset itself, the way that
that's
the
how the
distributed
accounting ledger.
Right. That's how the ledger. And
now, how many times do you have people on this show that say, "I want to invest in something because how the books and records are kept"? I mean, Joe, really? It's just an accounting ledger.
It's a ledger that everyone has, and can't be double counted. It's almost immutable. That's why people think it has inherent value.
So you trust it more than an Oracle database, or you trust it more than a Make difference.
There you go. So Gary Gensler fundamentally questioning the decentralization of Bitcoin.
10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. He was told to say that. Gary Gensler, don't fall for the people that say that Gary Gensler's an idiot. That's not true. Gary Gensler is very intelligent. That one of the memes that was put underneath it?
Right. Everyone's reaction.
He knows exactly what he's saying. He knows exactly what he's saying, and he's confusing the people who do not study cryptocurrency and do not study how finance actually works since its foundation. What his point there, because I hear what he's saying. He's like, most people don't invest in something because of the way the books are kept. They invest in something because they think the price is going to go up, the price is going to go down. And he's 100% correct. Smart people do, though, invest in how, like, I don't want to put money into a bank. Like, that's what happened in 2008. That's like the whole movie, The Big Short, is based off of someone who looked at a booming market. The real estate market was booming. But what did he do? He effectively went to look at how the books were kept. He effectively went to say, what is causing it to be so propped up? And he found that it was a bunch of lies. It was a bunch of leverage. There was nothing actually backing the whole market. He bet against it. The bubble popped. He made a lot of money. A lot of people lost a lot of money and lost a lot more. Gary Gensler knows this. He knows that Bitcoin is decentralized. He knows that it is much more trustworthy than traditional banking systems. But his friends like Elizabeth Warren and Jamie Dimon do not want him to say that. So he was given talking points that would be enough of a truth to distract. I don't want to say this, but let's just call it what it is. Dumb investors, idiot investors are going to fall for the lies of Gary Gensler in this clip. Smart people understand, no, Gary, that is not how this works. The host here, props to the host. Who would have known a host of a daytime show?
He's a long-term Bitcoin holder.
He understands the fundamentals of Bitcoin. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yes, I couldn't have said it. That's exactly my reaction here, Tim. And it's shocking to me when I heard that for the first time, because Gary has literally lectured on blockchain technology. He's gone on record, accidentally kind of singing the praises of specifically Algorand right early on, which is kind of ironic. But he is absolutely, and I've even got a clip here. I'm not going to play it, but you can kind of see, like, this was at him at MIT. You can find it on YouTube. Just type in Gary Gensler lectures MIT. I don't recommend it, as like something that's going to be exciting, right? But he goes in detail. He clearly understands the blockchain technology more than many influencers on YouTube, if I'm being frank. Yes, he intimately is understanding what Bitcoin is. He's exactly what you said, Tim. He's either trying to manipulate price, right, one last time, trying to get his last crack at it, saying, my nephew still didn't get his bags, got to bring the boat back, right? Either that, or he's taking some pointers from other folks there who have a lot to lose by Bitcoin going up.
He's going to make more money from saying those talking points than he would from investing in Bitcoin. Is the reason he's doing it. That's it. That's clean and simple. Why do people do what they do? They do it for power or money. And in this case, he already has the highest position that he really. I guess he could go for the Secretary of Treasury, but he's pretty high up there. I mean, there's not a lot higher he can go. He probably won't get any higher than he is. So the only reason he's going to do anything is because of money. He is being. There's just no way he's not being paid in some roundabout way to FUD Bitcoin.
Oh, Tim, you know what you just made me think of? What the world would be like if there was a Gary Gensler versus Vivek Ramaswamy ticket? Could you imagine?
That'd be nice.
That would be absolutely insane. It would just be 100% about crypto.
Yeah.
Well,
that'd be great.
We love it. I don't think this goes anywhere. I think, ultimately his audience here is all of the folks right now who manage a lot of money who are kind of on the fence. They're like, should I expose my clients to Bitcoin or not? Gary's coming in, trying to nudge the oldest and the dumbest, as Tim said, kind of away from it. The most conservative, you could say, the most protective of their clients, to take it out of the pejorative. So I completely agree, Tim. Next story here: Coinbase to report strong earnings. ETF benefits may surprise Wall Street. Just real quick here, guys. I do know that a lot of people are invested Coinbase, so you might be asking the question, hey, they got their earnings coming up. Should I take profits? I'm not going to tell you whether or not you should, but I'm going to give you some information. We expect Q4 to be a strong quarter for the company as volumes return to the space and interest income held up, said investment bank Needham analyst John Tedrado, who has a buy rating on the stock. One more quotation, Tim. Sounds like you have some input here. The big hope for Coinbase heading into 2024 was that more Bitcoin ETF, AUM, asset under management, would drive increased spot trading. Mizuho analyst Dan Dolvo, who has an underweight rating and predicts revenue to come in at $944 million with a $60 price target for 2024, wrote in a note. Tim, your reaction?
No, I mean, their quarter four was very, very good. This shouldn't be surprising. 100% trading went up in December. That's what was happening. Everything started rallying, so people started trading more. Also, as we just mentioned earlier in the show, they received a fat payday of over-the-counter purchases of Bitcoin from BlackRock. That money isn't hidden. That money's not going to an individual. That's going into the company's bank. So that's going to make their P&L look very, very good. They just received a massive payday for Bitcoin.
Yeah,
it's going to be good. And I think the price will go up. Watch Coinbase's price go up. In fact, what is it doing currently?
Let's take a look.
It's going up currently. Let's take a look at the daily chart.
We looked at NVIDIA. We looked at Meta. Now we're going to look at old Coinbase here.
Wouldn't be surprised, though, to see it get higher than the high we had just here in December. Would not be surprised to see it shoot up here above 188. Keep an eye. I mean, there's definitely some small gaps in here, but ultimately, I'm not necessarily too concerned. I think that we should see price go to the upside when those numbers come out, because those numbers are going to be very favorable.
Right. Now, there's always a question of, are they baked in? Right. They could be baked in. The stock market's definitely forward looking, right? So they could be looking and saying, a lot of people bought crypto. Coinbase's whole profit model is when people buy crypto, buy and sell, they make money. So it is kind of
quarter one, people have been buying a lot of crypto in quarter one as well. So
yeah. So, and that is another important thing, is just Q4. So these ETFs, they went live, and we're going to see how that affects the balance sheet, right? The revenue and expenses, right? Statement of cash flow, that wouldn't be balance sheet, but for Coinbase, and we're going to be able to see, but that's going to be reflected in Q1, right? So tomorrow at market open, we're going to be seeing the results of Q4 from 2023. Just helping folks stay on track. A lot of people don't even own Coinbase or any U.S. stocks, so thanks for bearing with us through that one. Here we go. Another American headline, though. Fed Chair Powell told House Democrats U.S. needs stablecoin bill. So we're hearing from Gary. We're hearing from Jerome on the same day, right? Kind of a 1-2. And what are we seeing? Bitcoin trade above 50,000. Are they scared, right? Are they coming out? Because anyway, let's keep going here. In his closed-door meeting on Tuesday with Democrats from the House Financial Services Committee, he's reported to have said that he's glad that negotiations are close on stablecoin legislation, according to Politico, citing a person who was there. Now, remember last week, we got a soundbite from Janet Yellen saying, urging legislators to go ahead and start drafting up stablecoin legislation. Jerome also said, if we're going to have a CBDC, Congress needs to authorize it. He said, according to the report, we aren't advocates, but we haven't made a decision on recommending CBDCs to Congress. So a little bit of a double-edged sword there. You got to hand it to Jerome. He is coming out and saying, hey, the Congress should authorize it. And I agree with that. I think that far be it from the Fed to be the ones making the decision as to whether or not they jump rails onto a whole new currency with the dollar. I do think Congress needs to authorize it, and I don't think they should.
Nothing's going to happen until the election this fall. Every large bill like this, although there was a bill passed, I guess, here the other night about the Ukraine funding that was a little peculiar. But no, large things like this, let me put it this way, rarely get passed this close to an election, because this has some major precedence for how the country moves forward fundamentally when it comes to the money side. So I would just be surprised. I think you're just going to see Republicans in Congress stalemate and say, we're going to wait for the election. Whoever the president is in the future, is it going to be Trump? Is it going to be Biden? Is it going to be somebody else? We'll let that kind of administration get a hold and kind of influence where this goes. It's pretty
absolutely normal. Well, we want to give you guys as much Q&A time as possible. Go ahead and put your questions, put your tickers, equities or crypto, or Forex, whatever you want seen on the charts. Give us a holler in the chat of any questions you have, and do that as soon as you can. We're going to get into one final story here before we get into Q&A. That is this. AVAX. You probably couldn't have picked it out of a lineup very quickly, but here it is, up 4.8%. The rest, there are definitely coins outperforming it by a long shot, but we've got a pretty big headline for AVAX. That is that Citibank tests tokenization of private equity funds on Avalanche. Guys, this is pretty big, and I'm going to be doing a lot more research on this. Might even put out a standalone video with my research on this very story, because this could be very, very big for AVAX. It had a pretty big headline. When was it, Tim? Was that November? Where JP Morgan
launched
a
couple big headlines. Had a couple of them.
They just get the AVAX, man. It's listed on Robinhood. I've been DCAing into it pretty heavy. It's been one of my heavier DCAs altcoin wise. But anyway, yeah. Hopefully we're seeing some comments in here. Somebody did say Lauda Corellion earlier. It might not still be in the chat, but said altcoins are not moving much. Well, I mean, according to the charts here, according to the bubbles, they do have beg to differ. I mean, DYM up 15%, Stacks up 13%, VeChain up 9.5%, SEI up 16%. Right, that's a layer one. That's not a meme coin. That's up 16% today, guys. So I would not. Cardano up 6.1%. I would not say that altcoins are not moving. I think they are moving, but when Bitcoin is making a move higher, guess where all the liquidity goes? Bitcoin, right? So when Bitcoin starts to move sideways, as I have been saying, I do think it will once this moment of bullishness, once this wave of buyers kind of subside, and then that money rotates, takes profits on Bitcoin, goes into higher risk assets, altcoins, tech companies. So we seen any questions there in chat, Tim?
Well, I see some coins definitely we're going to talk about. So there's a couple things we have to do today. So while I was gone, we did hold this off. While I was gone, we did surpass 8,000 subscribers. And we told you guys now every single time we hit a new 1,000 subscriber mark, we're going to be giving away $100. Well, last month, and I don't remember the name of the person it was, but the winner did not collect $100 from the $7,000 winning or 7,000 subscriber winnings. So we're actually giving away two different $100 giveaways tomorrow. So what you're going to want to do, those of you guys watching right now, we got over 200 people watching right now. First of all, smash the like button. But second of all, hit the subscribe button, because we are going to be giving it away to subscribers. And what I want you to comment down below is Gary Gensler sucks. I'm just going to go an old classic. I'm not going to make it too crazy. Comment below, Gary Gensler sucks. If you're watching this live, you got to wait till the end of the video so you can hit it in the comment section. If you're watching it back, make sure to go ahead and comment down there, and we will be picking two lucky winners of $100 for our giveaway. Before we jump into the TA and the Q&A here, T-Shroom, Avalanche, one of the things to keep an eye on, because we just talked about that big bullish news story. There is an unlocking happening in a week from today. So there will be, let's see here, 344 unlock 9.5 million tokens worth at the time of this article's writing, which was a week ago. So it's going to be a little more than that right now, but a little over. I'm going to go ahead and say $350 million at current prices. It'll be unlocked on February 21st. That only is 2.6% of circulating supply, but it's enough that people, there's a negativity. People are like, oh, it's unlocking. Just take some profit on your Avalanche. So it's going to have a bigger effect than just a 2.1% drop it could have a little bit more significant. But it just shows you how bullish AVAX is that even though this unlocking is happening, the price is still moving to the upside. They're still creating these great collaborations and great deals. Avalanche is a top hold for my portfolio. Yeah. And we don't give financial advice, but you guys should probably be holding it as well.
If you don't have any exposure to Avalanche, I think it's a mistake. I think the role that XRP was kind of gearing up to play in the world of global finance, I think that AVAX and Chainlink are pretty well positioned to provide those types of services. It's very early in the industry, so we could be wrong on that. But just reading the tea leaves.
Your tea leaves.
And there's absolutely more coins that are going to, Quant comes to mind as well. There's other coins that are going to be able to play that role as well. Now, you might be very new to crypto. You might be like, well, why wouldn't Bitcoin play that role? Subscribe, stick around. We will absolutely put some content out on why there's those distinctions, or just jump into the Discord or jump into the Instagram. Although, jump into the Discord, ask that question.
Instagram's a little bare. Instagram's going to be picking it up as we go on. It's new here. So.
Absolutely.
But T-Stream, I'm going to start with the first comment here. I see a lot of people commenting Gary Gensler sucks, which is great in the live chat, but I need it in the comment section down below. Unfortunately, I'm not going to go back and look at live chat for the giveaway. We're going to look at Injective. I've seen a couple people requesting Injective. Let me find on the market. T-Stream, if you want to keep feeding me after that, do I have Injective as one of my saved sidebar things? Wow, what the heck?
I'll tell you what, I saw yesterday there was a really good buy for Injective on the hourly chart. There was some good confluence on the Lux oscillator matrix, which, by the way, you can buy the Lux out. You can get access to the Lux algo. It's a proprietary paid indicator, but that Injective was screaming buy yesterday on the hourly. T-Shroom, why didn't you post that in the Discord signals? Well, I was very occupied yesterday, and I apologize.
Yeah.
Running 2 live shows a day is very exhausting.
It's very true. It's very true. Let's take a look here. We're going to be using, of course, as T-Stream just said, Lux Algo. We love Lux Algo, especially for trading tools. It works for long-term technical analysis as well, but especially if you are a trader, you absolutely need to get Lux Algo, the #1 indicator on TradingView. And again, you can sign up with our link down below and get it. 30 days, you have a money-back guarantee. So if you do not like it, if you're not making good trades with it, just get a refund. No money is lost from that purchase, but I think you guys are going to use it. You're going to make some money. You're going to like it. Let's take a look at what we have here. Now, under the daily chart, Lux Algo is actually printed a sell. Now, it's moved up since this order, but we're in a trend of setting lower highs and lower lows currently. Take profit and the support. You're going to kind of find some confluence down here towards 24 here on Injective. Let's take a look at what the oscillators are saying. The oscillators here on the daily chart have recently turned negative. The money flow is bearish and it's been bearish for a while, but we just got our bearish reversal dot. There was no reversal indicator, but that came all the way back here at the top. So Lux oscillators called that kind of perfectly. The RSI multi-length also at that top did print well above 100%, saying it was just screaming overbought. So Injective is one of those altcoins not making some big moves here more recently. Let's take a look at what the 4-hour chart is saying, though, maybe for a different trade. Currently, we are under a buy. This is just screaming to me that Injective's not one to probably be trading right now. Shout out to Kelly Kellum in chat saying, "Fam, good to see you, Kelly. Oh, I get to see Kelly every day, so that's that's the bonuses I get in life are things like seeing Kelly Kellum every single day. I love it. All right, let's take a look at what we see here with Lux Algo. Money flow negative, but looks like it might be turning. No, it's still going negative. We just had a bearish flash here as well. This is a very ugly chart. I'm not going to lie to you guys. Very, very ugly. We have some order blocks above us up at the take profit again. We're in a long right now that we could see the price shoot up back to $40, give or take, because we have order blocks up here towards 41, 42. We also have a significant order block below us down towards 30, but I don't like this whatsoever. I don't like this chart for longer term trades. It's just, and you can even see, let me turn all this noise off. You're going to see just a very tight frame here. So I don't think I'd want to trade this until I see a breakout of this little trend. Could this be a bull flag? It could. It could be a little bull flag because that's a nice steep flagpole that leads into it. If this were to break to the upside, keep your eyes on a potential move. Let's see what we got here. Let's go right here. I'll move it to last time it touched the support level. Could see a move to 85. That just seems a little ridiculous. That's more than a 100% move The dogs agree. I don't think your dogs like this for a trade whatsoever either. They're chiming in the background. But definitely what I'm seeing on Lux Algo, again, there's room upwards, but there's also room to the downside, and it's just in a tight little range here. I'm probably leaning a little bit more towards a short, in honest opinion here. If I'm trading injective whatsoever, looking at a short, the volume, you can even see just random little 1 hour candles of volume, and it goes right back to nothing. Let's see what it does. Hourly chart. Yeah, take profit right back at resistance at best. Order block sitting here at 36. Don't see a more significant move really taking place above that. So there's your injective. Long term, again, bullish case is for 85, but I think we would need to see. I don't think we're going to see an $85 injective until the bull market is confirmed. So keep your eyes on that. Drew P says, I like tight frames. Okay, I shouldn't have read that out loud. What else do we have, T-Shroom? What other Q&A we have?
Absolutely. We got a couple other tickers here. VChain, Chainlink, SEI, Hut 8, Solana. And we got also a congratulations from Alex O saying congrats on 8K, fam. Thank you so much, Alex.
Thank you so much, Alex.
And thanks for everybody who's followed along. Speaking of which, we've got our first follower over on Instagram. It is RX155. So thank you so much for following over on Instagram.
But boom. All right, let's take a look at VChain. VChain has had a nice last couple of days itself. In fact, during this whole period, last 7 days or so, we have seen the price of VChain shoot up almost 32%. So cool for VChain. Now, it is hitting the daily take profit. I think we can go a little higher, though. I think we can make it up here to the red resistance level up towards almost 4 cents. Keep your eyes on 4 cents. Let's take a look here. We definitely have a blue Neo Cloud right here trading. We are starting to flash overbought at 72%, but this is a daily chart. We can get well over 100 before we absolutely have to go down. I like the Lux Algo oscillators telling us the money flow is not above the threshold, but it is positive, and the RSI still has room to the upside. Now keep an eye out for if we get too much high. I don't think bearish divergence is going to form here, but what we'd be looking for is way back here at this level. We are above it, even though we're lower. So if the price, if we see red candles over the next day or two, and we do not get back up here to price levels around, what is that? Because I'm getting blocked. About 3.9 cents. Then we could see bearish divergence form up there, but I like what I'm seeing here on the daily chart. I think we have a little bit more, and then we have decision time once we get up here. Do we reject, or do we push through and break through new highs? What's the most recent high? Yeah, we have not had. This was the high back here in December. We have not been to that same level since back in May of 2022. So VChain is one I'm looking at. If Bitcoin can make a move over the next couple of days and maybe break that 53 we talked about earlier, and altcoins keep pumping, we see an alt season, look for a big move here on VChain. But the first rejection I'm looking at, keep an eye around 3.9 to 4 cents. Could be an interesting rejection spot for VChain. Let's see here. TradeFly says a fib extension on Tim's beard, please. I need to trim my beard. It definitely, I mean, I purposely just let it do whatever it wants when I went up to Maine because it's cold up there, so I could be a full-blown mountain man. But it is time. It's time for a little bit of trim up. Probably need to get a haircut next couple of days.
I like how you just skim over that one, Tim. That's your true dream. You just want to be a full-on mountain man. I love that.
Is that a secret? I feel like that's, I said it like it was normal because I feel like that's a well-known fact. I am a mountain man, first of all. I don't want to be. I am. I don't happen to live in mountains. I live in a hillish area here in Georgia, but I always long to be in the mountains. That is where my home is. Beautiful. It doesn't matter what mountain. Just give me a mountain. I'll live there.
I like it. Well, maybe that's why you're so drawn to the charts, because you don't live near mountains, so you just want to see mountain shapes all day.
I'm telling you right now, just living in a mountain with some good Wi-Fi and just playing on the charts and then snowboarding down the hills, going for hikes, killing a couple bears, like that's the dream right there.
I like that. I like the death kind of slid in there. That's nice. Hit the slopes.
You don't know the life of a mountain man if you're confused about death getting in there. All right, let's go and let's look at Chainlink. I saw Chainlink on here as well, and of course we have to talk about Chainlink. Now, Chainlink is under a little bit of a rising wedge pattern here. Let's turn off fib just for a second, just so we can see those candles. So, breakout coming. Here's what I will say: this is traditionally bearish, so I want to be prepared for that. But it's such a rising level. I'm going to go and just read this as a breakout is coming on Chainlink. It could be the downside, but it also very much could be to the upside. We do have an order block here down below us, down to 18. We also have a more significant one all the way back down towards $13. But when I turn on this, I think there's a little bit more to the upside. We have a take profit a little higher here. We talked about the significance of $20, but then if you guys remember, we discussed the significance of $22 to $23. The reason for that is that because it was the point, it's because it was the 0.382 here on the long-term Fibonacci levels. So keep an eye on that. Let's see what the oscillators are saying here on the daily chart. We did get a red reversal and bearish divergence and a bearish momentum dot. We weren't quite 100% overbought though. And when I look at the money flow is still flowing positively. And so what I'm looking at right here is I actually am kind of seeing potentially a reloading of our oscillators, getting ready for at least one more good push to the upside. So I'm still bullish on Link. Again, most of the coins we talked about, we've hit our levels. AVAX, I said $40. We're at 41, almost 42 right now. Cardano, we talked about 56. We made it above 57. I think I said 90 cents for Matic, so I don't know if Matic's hit the 90-cent mark just yet. But AVAX, I said somewhere between $20 to $22 is my target for looking for an upward swing. And I just want you guys to know, again, this is also a reason why I'm still a little bearish, because if you guys remember, I talked about those upward movements and I made those upward higher predictions while maintaining some lower ones, right? For Bitcoin, I am surprised that we got above 47. I told you I'd be more bullish, got above 47. But before I did tell you the significance of 53, and that 53, while I feel good about it, if we get there, I still feel good about the price of Bitcoin. There still is an outside chance of a dramatic pullback on Bitcoin. And if we have a dramatic pullback on Bitcoin, the pullbacks on these altcoins could be even more significant. So, while I think there's still some upward movement for Bitcoin and altcoins as a whole, again, Link, $22, give or take, I would not be surprised to see prices keel over at those levels and have decent pullbacks after that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Go ahead.
Well, while you were hitting the slopes, we had Magic Internet Money on as one of our guests, and he was pointing out 53 as a level because of this. This is a 3-month chart, right? And you can see here, if I clean up the Bollinger Bands a little bit, well, I guess those are just right here. You can see that Bitcoin tested back in July 2021. Well, so this is 3 months of data, so this isn't 1 month. But it tested up exactly 53. And so I've got it drawn here. I've also got these other historic lines drawn right here. This was the candle body closes, very symmetrical too, right here at 58.7. So that's one I've got drawn out. And then up here, and then, there's more. But 53, the point is 53, very, very significant. And so, just because we got up above 47 does not mean that 70,000 is going to happen tomorrow. It's going to take time.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, my big reason is this right here. Let me pull off all this stuff in case you guys didn't see the beginning of the show. And we're going to close out. Someone asked if we covered Caspa yet. I got to take a look at Caspa. We love Caspa. So we
also got to get the factoid in. So.
Oh, we didn't do the factoid. I forgot. It's been a week since I've been here. I forgot the flow of the show already.
It's okay, Tim.
You guys know that we talked about this before. Volume gaps, especially significant volume gaps, a lot of times are some of the biggest bounces of support. Yes, sometimes the peaks happen too, but they're at 53,000. That is this big gap. In fact, in this time period that we're covering, since all the way back here in January of 2021, this is the lowest amount of volume except for 69,000, of course, because that's where, very little happened there. That was the top that happened there. But other than that, it's the biggest gap of them all. I think, when we teach these things, picture a car. It's almost kind of easy for the car to roll to the bottom of the mountain. But once you have that significant pullback up, it's like the car gets stuck right there. And it's really hard for the car to get the momentum to go back up the mountain. A lot of times that's where you see the reversal happens. That's my reasoning, but it's good. It's good. Anytime Magic Internet Money agrees with you, it makes you feel very confident about your TA. Yeah. I just want to put it that way.
You are in harmony with the harmonics.
Yeah. Let's take a look at Caspa. Caspa. Now, Caspa, before I left, I told you guys that we could see a breakout in one of two directions because we had formed a little bit of a decentralized. It's been a long week. I got to get back into the words. A falling or descending triangle, meaning flat bottoms, descending level of resistance. I said it could get ugly if we break the support level, but potentially we could get a push to the upside. Sure enough, that's exactly what we did. But look at where we kind of reversed. We reversed right at the kind of a triple touch here of these highs here around 15, right below 15 cents, give or take, is where we rejected. Let's take a look at what Lux Algo is saying. It is saying that was our take profit here on the daily chart. It is saying that we hit into that red sideways moving red reversal cloud. Here's another thing about LuxAlgo. I love it, but this is something that I just, if you're bullish on CAS right now, just be aware of. When you're moving sideways with these support and resistance clouds, you absolutely love taking profit and taking shorts on these. Doesn't mean we have to stop. Doesn't mean we can't go to the upside. I'm just saying this is a great indication of during a sideways trading action, you love selling the red, you love buying the green. That green still coming in all the way down here at the, this is where I think we have a purple line here. So I'm going to assume this was a value area low at one point or a value area high. I don't know which, but around 7 cents is still an interesting one to talk about here for a potential pullback here on CASPA if things turn around here soon. Now, things could pop back up. I'm not saying they can't. I'm just saying keep your eyes on that. Let's take a look here. Money flows in the red, but it's flowing positive. It's going sideways, though, so it's slowing down the bullish momentum. We got a reversal dot. We got a bearish momentum dot. And if you guys watched my LuxAlgo trading strategy video, I discussed when you get a trifecta of bearish or bullish signals here, it's pretty lethal at calling direction of the market. And if you're trading it correctly, pretty lethal trade. Well, we have the reversal. We have the bearish momentum. If we see this money flow in the next couple of days turn south and start getting bigger to the red side, that would be a pretty good confirmation that this upward movement for CASPA is at least temporarily done. Let's see as we close the show. 401. We got a little bit more here. The 4-hour chart kind of neutral right now, very neutral. Money flow still green, trading sideways. We are flowing to the upside with a green reversal dot, but no green momentum. In fact, it's just saying it's neutral right now. It's not really doing anything overwhelming. It's just trading sideways between our red reversal and our Neo cloud. So waiting for a breakout. A breakout will happen soon. I am just about going to guarantee you if I pull up this Bollinger Bands, we're going to see constriction right here. Yeah, we are waiting for a breakout coming very, very soon. After getting very extended, we're trading sideways. Bollinger Bands constricting, hovering right there on the 24-hour. Wait for a big move. Is that to the upside? Is it the downside? We'll have to wait and see. I'm leaning a little bit more towards the downside, though. Even if we don't be surprised if we pop up here back to 14.5 or so, get to the top of this range. But as a whole, I'm looking a little bit more towards the downside for these more recent trades. Daily charts bearish, 4-hour charts bearish. That's what you got right now.
I like it. Tim, the factoid of the day is brought to you by Decrypted.tax. If you haven't gotten ahead of your 2023 tax filings and you have invested or traded crypto in 2023, look no further than the pros over Decrypted.tax. Book your free 60-minute consultation. You have everything to gain and nothing to lose. Get ahead of it. You're going to have to pay your taxes. Tim, you're going to have to pay the piper. Let me know here. What is the answer to this question? Theme, you picking up on it. The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King premiered December 1st of what year? Was it 05, 7, 99, or 03?
I think the first one was in 2000. So it needed some time to get there to the third one, which the Return of the King, I think, is the third one. I'm going to say 2000. I'm between 5 and 7. I'm going to say 2007. I think those movies take a while to produce. 2007 is my final answer. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Lord of the Rings.
Back to back, huh?
One of my favorite films, directed by Peter Jackson. Premiered December 1st, 2023, Embassy Theater in Wellington. I think that's... Where is Wellington?
All right.
I can't remember. But Wellington, New Zealand? Yeah, capital New Zealand. There you go. Boom. Tim, glad to have you back, man.
Got it wrong. Yep. It is good to be back, guys. We will be back tomorrow with a normal flow. I'm assuming something will happen. I will more than likely have a morning video for you guys. Tomorrow we'll be back with a show. I saw people giving other suggestions here in chat. There's two ways, guys. Every single show we try to save some space for some Q&A. So make sure to watch our daily show to get your TA on your coin, or make sure you join our membership and come into the Discord and ask me. I am more than happy to do any TA you guys request in our members only Discord section. So make sure if you guys want to see more of my TA, go over there. With that said, though, I'm so happy to be back with you guys. I'm so happy to see Bitcoin above 50,000, and I'm so happy that we have a lot more shows coming, and the show is getting bigger and better. Make sure after the show's over, hit that comment section, subscribe, and hit the comment section. Gary Gensler sucks for a chance to win $100. With that said, you guys have a fantastic day.
Trying to make paper. turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots, stack bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros. Army pipe, lethal on trade. Entries and exits, worthy of praise. Tim, the professor of the TA. Shout it out loud on the PA. T-Shrooms news, got the word. Doing better than what he deserves. Beamer, leave no evidence. Soon fly coop with his dividends. Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots, stack bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros.
Investing bros. Investing bros. Investing bros. Investing bros. Investing bros.